name is Bill White, history teacher and social studies chair at Augusta Prep. Today, I have a glad heart because I have the honor of introducing Russell DeLecuona, the first senior speech of spring 2022. For all of Russell's friends and teachers, for everyone who is, like me, a Russell fan and supporter, and everyone who has been a part of Russell's life at Augusta Prep, welcome. Today our community is joined by Russell's mother, Rebecca Collins DeLecuona, and by his friend, Echo Adu. Both are well known and beloved by us here at Prep. Please extend your gratitude for their being with us today. In Steinbach and Harnick's 1964 musical, Fiddler on the Roof, there is a moving, exuberant piece sung by the village tailor, Montel Comzoil. The song is called Wonder of Wonders and expresses Montel's joy at having his proposal of marriage accepted by his fiance's father. The song is happy, fast-paced, and gushing with hyperbole. The saccharine flavor overwhelms the senses and affects my blood flow most unpleasantly. And Russell, I need to say once more in front of everyone here, it is a terrible song. Now, for everyone else in the audience, please know that this is one of the very few, if significant, points on which Russell and I have differed since knowing each other these past few years. Indeed, we share a fair amount of common ground. Star Trek is more than just drama in space. It's important. It is crucial to be aware of events unfolding on the world stage, but also to recognize when to take a breath and concede that there are some things we cannot control, and that there is a real pleasure in listening to and performing music, except for the aforementioned song. And perhaps we'll just agree that the rest of Fiddler is outstanding and leave it at that. Now, Russell has been at Prep since kindergarten, and as a Prep lifer, he has grown from childhood to adulthood on this campus and has, along the way, established himself on the path of the Renaissance man. Anyone who knows Russell even a little will have noted his ability to introduce and carry on discussions over a host of subjects. We're familiar with Russell's performance work in the performing arts, having appeared in several productions on this stage and performing with our talented chorus. Russell currently serves as co-president of the Thespian Troupe and has extended his commitment to vocal arts through private voice lessons. He has applied himself fully to his courses at Prep, including our global language offerings. And when he decided to learn Korean, he began teaching himself Korean. In passing by a cyber club meeting, Russell's interest in problem solving and language found a home in technology, and he remains an active member after nearly 2 years. Quote, "Russell? I love him. He's awesome," unquote, says my wife and faculty sponsor of the Cyber Patriot and CyberStart teams on which Russell participates. Russell has a deep interest in how the world works, and so has been a member and now president of the Science Club, and as a self-proclaimed astronomy nerd, is considering a degree in astrobusiness, but we shall see. Further, and just as significantly, Russell sees that the world works better for some than for others, and so participates in the Meals on Wheels program and is co-founder of Prep's Student Diversity Committee. It has been a pleasure to serve as Russell's advisor and teacher over the past 3 years. I am very proud of his character, integrity, and courage. He reflects well on all of us at Prep. So let's please extend a warm welcome to the podium for Russell DeLecuona.
First, I would like to thank Dr. White for his wonderful introduction. I would also like to thank my family and friends, both in person and virtual. What does it mean to be questioning? What does it mean to wonder if the identity you were given, the identity the world sees, might not be your true self? What if you love in a different way than those around you? What if you realize that the name you were given at birth does not represent who you really are? What do you do with this confusion, this feeling of uncertainty. After all, we live in a world that often looks negatively upon difference. Those faced with this situation may feel that their only option is to hide themselves, their true selves, from the whole world. This feeling of secrecy, this feeling of isolation, this feeling of anxiety is the feeling of being in the closet. Merriam-Webster defines the closet, in this context at least, as a state in which someone will not admit being a homosexual. However, some may consider this definition exclusive. After all, sexuality is more than heterosexuality and homosexuality. Some people might be attracted to multiple genders. Some might experience no sexual attraction. There are also those who question their gender identity. Simply put, sexual orientation and gender identity are both wide, diverse spectrums. For this speech, I will be referring to those who identify as a gender and/or sexuality outside of typical societal norms as gender and sexual minorities, or GSM. This group is one just as varied as any other. They speak different languages, practice different belief systems, hold different values, and have different interests. But one thing that unites nearly every member of this global community is at least some time, however brief, as a closeted individual. Many of these people may, after some deliberation, decide that the time is right to come out of the closet, to reveal their status as a gender and/or sexual minority to one or more people. They may find that they're in a safe environment to publicly present as their true self. They may believe themselves to be among people they can trust, people they know will understand and accept them. And coming out is a case-by-case matter. One should not assume that a person out to them is out to everyone. Coming out is also a highly personal choice. Gender and sexual minorities do not inherently owe you this fact of their lives. And if you are trusted with it, you should never reveal it without their permission. Part of the reason for this is that there is a great sense of anxiety that coming out can provoke. This fear is not without justification. We do not live in the most tolerant world. In many places, falling outside typical gender and sexuality norms is deemed an aberration. In fact, in some areas, it's even considered criminal. The United Nations consists of 195 member states. And of these states, 71 criminalize same-sex activity, even if it's between two consenting adults in private. Most of these nationwide laws target men in particular. However, 43 states do have specific bans on same-sex activity between women. In 11 of these states, same-sex activity is even punishable by death. Transgenderism is also a target in 15 nations. Its opposition coming often in the form of laws concerning same-sex activity and maintaining the public order. Closer to home is our nation, the United States. While the land of the free is doing more for equal rights than many other countries, we still have our fair share of problems concerning gender and sexual minorities. For example, in 18 states, including Georgia, and all 5 major US territories, a perfectly law-abiding citizen can be evicted from their home, or even denied the ability to rent or buy a home, solely due to their sexual orientation or gender identity. Another area in which American gender and sexual minorities face significant difficulty is in the employment sphere. A May 2021 study surveying 935 American adults who identify as gender and sexual minorities reports unfair treatment in over 40% of cases. This includes workers who are fired, refused employment, or harassed just for their gender and sexual identity. Closeted youth, in particular, may fear a negative reaction from their caregivers if the truth were to come about. It is not unheard of for unaccepting parents to force their own children from their homes, to violate the promise they made at birth to care for and love them unconditionally, just for their identity. As seen here, while these youth account for 7% of the general youth population, they account for a staggering 40% of the homeless youth. Can you imagine throwing your own child out of your home just because they live a life that you might not understand? Homelessness can be a frightening word, and for good reason. Living on the streets can lead to numerous problems. One of them is substance abuse. Per the National Coalition for the Homeless, 38% of our nation's homeless population is dependent on alcohol, and 26% are dependent on other dangerous substances. Mental health is also a matter of concern. Per the American Psychological Association, the rate of mental illness in the homeless population is twice that of the general public. A third danger is the risk of sexual exploitation, especially for children and adolescents. A 2004 report by the Washington Coalition of Sexual Assault Programs lists 30% of shelter youth and 70% of street youth as victims of commercial sexual exploitation. And this is the path that a disturbingly high amount of people identifying as gender and sexual minorities have ended up on. For this reason, and for the ones listed above, you may be wondering one thing. Why? Why, with full awareness of the potential danger, would someone choose to come out? Well, though there are many potential issues an open life can cause, there are still a number of benefits that deserve mentioning. To begin, coming out can allow those who do so to live honestly with others and with themselves. Being able to live as one's true self can be a relief. It can be liberating. The stress of maintaining a facade is gone with the ability to be oneself. Coming out can also boost one's self-esteem. It isn't always easy to show the world who you really are, and maybe if you do, you'll find you're a bit stronger from doing so. Another reason why people do come out is the chance of a closer, truer bond with those to whom they reveal their identity. Sharing such a significant secret with someone is a sign of great trust. This can lead to a closer relationship, one in which neither party feels the need to hide an aspect of themselves. A final reason is the possibility of finding others who identify as gender and sexual minorities. Of course, you don't have to hang out with someone just because your demographics match. However, meeting others with similar experiences can be one of the best ways to tell someone that they are not alone and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. This is also another opportunity for new relationships, an opportunity to join a diverse, welcoming community. You might be wondering now what to do if someone you know comes out to you. How can I help, you might ask. Well, I have good news for you. That question, how can I help, is the first step to being an ally. By simply saying that you are there for someone, there to listen, there to be a shoulder to cry on, maybe even there to keep a secret, you are telling that person that they can trust you. You are telling them that you, whatever you think about their identity, will support them. To someone who might be afraid to show their true self, that question, how can I help, might just ease a few of their worries. There are some things to remember when supporting a loved one who's come out to you. As mentioned earlier, don't forget the importance of confidentiality. Your friend or family member has trusted you with a significant part of who they are. They may not be out to everyone in your peer group or to their family. You can't know how everyone in your circle would react to this news. Another thing you shouldn't forget is that at the end of the day, it isn't about you. You might be one of a small number, if not the only one someone has come out to, but their situation is still just that, their situation. They may come out to you, but that doesn't necessarily mean they owe you every single fact about themselves. If they are struggling with matters related to their identity, you can and should be supportive. It will likely be seen as a positive sign if you affirm that you are there for a loved one. However, they still have every right to keep things from you. It's no insult. There are things that some people cannot reveal, and they still deserve that right. Be a supportive friend, but don't necessarily pry either. Now, this wasn't exactly the easiest speech to listen to. We went through some pretty heavy things, but that's over now. While it is important to point out the negatives, it is equally important, if not more so, to point out the positives. We don't live in the most tolerant world we could, but we also live in the most tolerant world we've ever had, and things get better every day. More and more countries around the world are passing new laws that defend gender and sexual minorities, and many are also repealing ones that harm them. We as a human race are slowly but surely learning to accept others, and I believe that only a few decades away is an open, welcoming world for everyone. It won't happen though if we aren't vigilant, if we don't take care to ensure progress can continue. I am grateful for everyone who came to my speech today. I want to say this to anyone in the audience who may need it. Your identity is not a crime, and don't let anyone tell you it is. Though it may seem impossible to believe now, there are people out there who will care for and support you as yourself. My hope is that you will someday find those people